In America, most people have access to local Christian radio. What would it look like if your local Christian radio station was more than just traditional radio? I was intrigued recently when I visited the Mars Hill Network in Syracuse, New York, and learned of their ministry innovations to expand into digital media. Welcome to the Unconventional Ministry Podcast, where the conversation is about fresh ministry ideas and innovative approaches. I'm Dennis Weens, your host, Senior Impact Catalyst at Sat7 USA. My guest is Teddy Caputo, the Digital Media Director at Mars Hill Network. Teddy has a BA in journalism and mass communication with a minor in marketing. I looked at his LinkedIn profile, and it says that he's an aspiring multimedia journalist with skills in digital marketing, broadcast digital media, and creative professional writing. So, Teddy, it's good to have you on, and no wonder they hired you full-time to take their radio station in a little different direction. So welcome to the Unconventional Ministry Podcast.
Thank you, Dennis. I'm really glad to be here. Thank you for having me on today.
So I was intrigued that, we know radio, Christian radio, but you're brought on to do something really different. Let's start with just describe your Mars Hill network a little bit so people have an idea of where they are now. Then we'll talk about where you want to take them.
Right. Yeah. So Mars Hill Network, we are a Christian media company. We're based in Syracuse, New York. And the company started back in 1969 with a vision from some locals here in Syracuse who wanted to start a Christian radio station. So when Mars Hill was started back in 1969, it started just as radio. The one station here in Syracuse, New York, has grown into 7 full power stations and 15 translator stations that extend throughout New York State. They go even reach up a little bit into Canada and Ontario and Cornwall. We even have a translator down in Riverhead, New York, which covers a good majority of Long Island. So on the FM radio side, which is what Mars Hill has been for the majority of its time, that's what we cover. Within the last few years, we've developed some more digital things, including our online stream and our app. And really, back when they had started Mars Hill as just radio, they had a bigger vision than just radio. They wanted it to be Christian communications of all kinds, whether it's what was available then or a future invention. So really with that, we had brought in a development director. His name was Rich, and he had the digital vision to do more than just radio here. And so when he was looking to expand on that, I was looking for an internship at the time. So we crossed paths, myself and Mars Hill, through a member of my church who is connected here to Mars Hill. I guess the rest is history. There's a longer story behind it, exactly how I got to Mars Hill.
Very good.
The Lord really was the one that engineered it. So when I was brought here, that's when we started doing more digital stuff. And that was about 3 years ago.
So as you think in terms of Mars Hill, talk to us a little bit about the format. Is it 25 minutes of preaching, different pastors from around the country, Bible teaching? Is it music? What's the format?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I think when you generally think of Christian radio, most people think of just music. Well, yes, we do have music here, but we have a variety of different programming. So I would say our format is about 60% programming and 40% music. And we do have some long-range program or long-form programs during the day that are more preaching. So those would be about 25, 30 minutes. And they're like sermons, pastors who are giving messages to their churches. But we also have a number of short-form programs as well. Some of them are really short, like 1-minute features. Others are a little longer, but not super long, maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. And those are more along the lines of very specific topics. It could be anything from family topics to we even have a program about a rescue mission, what they're doing. It airs once a week, every Saturday. So it's really a wide variety that we have here on the radio. So if you're really looking to be spiritually fed, you can come to Mars Hill and do that. But if you're also looking to worship the Lord in music, we have a lot of windows in the broadcast where we play a lot of music and different kinds of music as well to really cast that net wide for our Christian audience.
So that gives our podcast listeners an idea of what the station is. Now we want to go to where you want to end up, and your title is Digital Media Director. What does that mean, and where does the vision take you in digital media?
Right. That's a great question. So when I started here, they asked me to come up with my own title. So, and that was such a blessing because it really did make me think about what my responsibility is here. So my title is Digital Media Director. And in the name itself, it kind of self-explanatory, but I'll go a little deeper. So I direct all the digital media here. Digital media can really cover anything. It's anything digital, but here it's video production, our website, social media channels, our app even, and even email marketing. So sending out like an electronic newsletter or an e-blast, as we like to call it, really just handling all of those digital media responsibilities, creating the content, managing the content, trying to develop more content even for our listeners, stuff that is aside from the radio, but stuff that's also in concert with the radio. One of the things I've been wanting to do here, and I'm trying to develop, is what's called simulcasting. I'm sure you know what that is, Dennis, but to those who don't know necessarily what that is, it's a simultaneous broadcast that's going out on the radio and on video. So like my job here is I'm coming up with ways to extend our radio audience, but also create digital content. Because right now, our audience, it's been with us for radio for so long, but there is also another audience out there in digital who we can get. And they may not consume radio the exact same way as radio has been consumed over the last 50 years since Mars Hill's been around. We know that there are a lot more people with digital devices. There are a lot more people who, and they don't have radios. Maybe the only time they have a radio access is in their car. So it's really trying to find ways digitally to bring people to our radio stream, but also bring people to our hub of resources that we are creating to really minister and to disciple to not only our current audience, but other believers, and even as a witness to those for Christ out there in the digital space.
We're a broadcaster in the Middle East, as you know, and we're talking a lot about on-the-go audiences that aren't going to sit and watch a 30-minute satellite TV program. Even they have to be access to the internet for their web streaming, but there's a lot of on-the-go audiences, and how can we deliver content? And it has to be short little clips, and so it's a whole different way to broadcast. I know I was visiting your studio, and you took me on a tour. I don't know how many radio stations out there have a full video production studio with a full green screen technology. So that was impressive that here's this Mars Hill network, and you've got green screen, and you've got video. You're really expanding into a whole new realm of digital media.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, if you guys were able to see us right now, I'm actually sitting in the green studio with the green screen display on me right now. So just even utilizing that for what we're doing here is something that the Lord has blessed us with. But yeah, there's so much going on here with what we want to do with One North, stuff we're already doing and stuff that we're looking to do. And to your point, just having that space here gives us so much opportunity. So it's really a blessing from the Lord that we do have this space, and we're looking to use it for ways to honor and glorify Him.
If we have some podcast listeners that maybe are connected to local radio and they want to expand into digital, what are some challenges you've had, as you've taken the station beyond just radio format into digital media formats and the different aspects of that? What are some of the challenges you've faced?
Right. I think the first thing is understanding our audience, our current audience that exists on the radio, how they behave, and then the audience that we would like to get, figuring out how they behave, studying their behavior in terms of digital consumption. To your point earlier, sometimes people don't always have the time to sit down and watch a 30-minute segment. We do have some long form content like that, which is very valuable and people love it. But there are also people like my age. I'm 25 years old, and I can tell you that many people my age may not have that attention span. So they like shorter content. So what kind of content to get in front of them, and what content in particular? Like, what is it that they need to hear? Obviously the gospel message, but we're looking into different ways to try to connect with our audience. Like, for one example, we have a lot of women that listen to the Mars Hill Network. I think we did a survey within the last year or two. And we found out just from that survey data that over half of our audience is women, maybe 60, 65%. And so with that, we in the last 2 years have started a women's ministry. And with that, we have a women's video series. And that has really snowballed into now we have a women's conference and some other great stuff going on with that. And just these videos that we're able to do are really helping connect women, and it's helping to understand our audience a little better. So I would say that is definitely a challenge because, we have one audience that necessarily doesn't use the digital media as much and maybe trying to get them to go to the digital media resources. But then we have another audience that uses digital media, but may not necessarily see the value in what we bring to the radio. So trying to do both of those things at the same time, bringing our current listeners to our digital media resources, and then bringing those who are on the digital media platforms to our radio resources. I would say just trying to figure out exactly how people operate and getting them there has been a little bit of a challenge. We've made some great strides, but there's obviously a lot more strides to go and a lot more that we can do. So I would say that's the big challenge, is really understanding people and what they like to consume.
And I would think one of the big early challenges would be to have a board that really believes in the vision of digital media and is willing to heavily invest appropriately to make it successful. So kudos to your board and to your leadership who have invested in this. Someone sent me a YouTube clip of a program you have on YouTube. So you've expanded into that realm as well.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So right now, as I mentioned, we do have a women's video series that's called Navigating Christian Womanhood. That's our second video series, actually. Our first video series started pretty much because of the COVID-19 pandemic, but that one is called Faith Feature. And so Faith Feature, it's a testimonial video series. Every guest that I've brought on since I've taken over the show, it was originally started by our former development director, Rich Lupia, who brought me on as an intern. And that's how I ended up here. But anyway, so ever since I took over the show, I always ask every guest their testimony, how they came to know the Lord Jesus, and then also how the Lord's using them for the kingdom in their ministry work, or just how he's working on them to be an encouragement and inspiration to others who maybe are in the faith and need that encouragement or don't know the Lord. And then this is an opportunity to witness into their life. So yeah, no, it's really great how the Lord has used that here. And I know we're in talks of doing some other stuff, maybe some other video programs, podcasts, and other digital resources to really build up our library of content.
For our listeners, how can they learn more about what you guys are doing and maybe become involved in following some of your digital media?
Yeah, absolutely. So on our website, we have a web page all about what we do here in terms of our video department, One North. So if you go on our website, it's marshillnetwork.org/One North. So if you go there, you can read more about One North. You can see a lot of the video content on there. We also have it posted to our YouTube channel, which is Mars Hill Network, and our Facebook page also called Mars Hill Network. So if you want to check out the video resources, I'd recommend that. But there's so much more on our website too, marshillnetwork.org. Other than just the video, we have plenty of other digital resources that I encourage you to check out as well.
And on that One North, when they put that in the URL, it's not the number one, it's spelled out one.
It's spelled out one, yeah. So in the link, it's all pretty much one word, continuous, no hyphens, anything. It's one. So marshillnetwork.org/One North.
Well, this is interesting that a radio network is expanding in this level to digital media. I'm excited about it. That women's series, how do you distribute those videos? Do you send out a link? Do you put it on YouTube? What is your distribution strategy?
Yeah, that's a great question. So yeah, we publish every time we release a new episode, it gets published on Facebook and YouTube, and then also put onto our website as well. And then we get the word out about it either through other promotion on social media. We also do, like I said, our e-newsletter, our email blasts that go out. We always will put the episode in there to get the word out. And then we also do talk about it on the air. Sonia, in addition to being the host of Navigating Christian Womanhood, She also is a radio host. She does a number of things on the radio as well. So we use our radio platform to promote it as well. So, if you haven't watched it yet, I really do encourage you to go check it out. Navigating Christian Womanhood. It's a great video series for women who may be listening to us today.
I was on your website and I noticed that you do some internships and digital projects. I thought that was interesting. Explain a little bit to our podcast audience what internship might look like and what digital projects might look like.
Right. Yeah. Let's start with the digital projects first. So I had already mentioned that there are a couple main things that I'm doing here with the digital and the video. One of them being simulcasting, which we are still in development with. We've done a few simulcasts where you've actually seen the hosts of the radio program. So you could see the people that are going out on the radio. Then we have the Mars Hill Network branded content video that isn't aired on the radio, but is on our digital channels. And then the third thing is what you just mentioned, the digital projects, the services that we offer. So say there is a parachurch organization or a church or just any Christian company that, say, is looking for some video digital exposure. And they need help with the production of that content. They can come to us and we could put together a proposal for them that is very cost effective for them. I've done a few jobs for some people. I want to say maybe like 3 or 4 client jobs thus far. And, just being able to offer it to people, because if we weren't around, I know some churches may, if they have the budget, they may go hire their own people, but otherwise, like one client I worked with, a company called CareNet, they told me that sometimes they have to go with, other video production companies that are just maybe more expensive or maybe don't necessarily see their vision like we do. So it's just really nice that we're around because, we share the same vision as most of these companies in their main message, which is getting Jesus out there and getting the gospel message out there, the love of Christ out there. But we also do it in a way that it's budgetable for them. It helps our ministry bring in some revenue to help us expand in what we're doing. But also it's an affordable way for ministries to get the word out about their video. So we have really great rates that we offer there. And then the internships. Yeah. So we are offering currently a digital media internship to help with all of these projects, the stuff I'm doing, content I'm making for the Mars Hill platform, also these digital projects that I'm working on for clients. And then the simulcasting, every digital aspect of the ministry, video, web, social media, this internship would cover. So we're looking for active college students. They can be an undergrad or graduate, any form of degree that they're getting. And we do want to expand this also into high school as well. But right now we're focusing on college. So anybody who's looking to get that digital media experience or even looking to serve the Lord in that capacity, we currently are offering an internship for that. Right now, as it stands, it's an unpaid internship, but one that you can use for college credits or advancement to a degree. I know when I was in school, I needed a certain number of internship hours as a requirement for graduation. So in that case, this internship would cover that. But we also, I think, as I was mentioning, so right now it's unpaid. So we're hoping at some point to make that a paid internship. But right now it's an unpaid internship where you can use it for school credits or the requirement you need for an internship. If you want to learn more about it, there's a page on our website, marshillnetwork.org/internships, and it'll cover all the basic requirements in terms of, I guess, the skill set you need in order, like if you would be a good fit for this internship.
I really like the way that Mars Hill Network is blending the radio side of it as well as with digital media side and how each side complements the other one and promotes the other one. I think it's a great model, and I encourage our podcast listeners to get on the Mars Hill Network, listen, and check it out. And I'm sure they can reach out to you from the website to learn more about what you're doing in all these different facets. So give your website one more time. And again, thank you for joining the Unconventional Ministry Podcast.
Yeah, Dennis, thank you so much for having me. I'm going to have to bring you on the Faith Feature show as well at some point. But yes, thank you so much for listening. If you want to check out more about Mars Hill Network and what we do, our main website is marshillnetwork.org. To check out more about the digital ministry here, One North, go to marshillnetwork.org/One North, or you can check out all the video content on YouTube. Just go search Mars Hill Network and you'll find us there.
This is the Unconventional Ministry Podcast. If you've enjoyed this conversation, please share it with your friends and leave a comment. Sat7 is a Middle East and North Africa broadcast media ministry making God's love visible and the gospel available to everyone in the Middle East and North Africa. Sat7 USA has resources in helping you honor God while protecting your family. You can avoid another regret, which is the failure of not creating an estate plan. Through a partnership with Financial Planning Ministry, Sat7 USA provides Christian experts to assist you in preparing your will or trust, all at no financial cost to you. Visit www.sat7usa.org and click on the tab Planned Giving for more information. Sat7 simplifies the process and makes it easy for you so that your family and friends don't have to bear the burden and regret of your failure to create an estate plan. Thank you again for joining this episode of the Unconventional Ministry Podcast.